You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It's takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
Hello, America. This is Rick Robinson. We are live right now on KLRNradio.com. I'm one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. She's typically the other half, Miss Jen Homestead, but she's actually started the 4th of July a little early. There's a block party at her place, and she was afraid with all the noise and the explosions and the booms and the dogs barking that it would make for a distracting show. So she's got the night off. She'll be back Thursday, as far as I know, unless she continues to party, because, you know, we do 4th of July a little different in flyover country. I've been celebrating 4th of July for now 3 weeks running, so just saying. But anyway, so I do have a co-host with me this evening. You may recognize her from both Jess's POV as well as Jesse's Coffee Shop. We have Jessica Sanders with us this evening. She'd actually planned on guesting with me on America Off the Rails this evening because, you know, occasionally she likes to come hang out on a show that discusses American politics when she feels the need to rant, and apparently she has her rant building again. So good evening, Jess. How are you?
Well, it's nice to be at our new military base, although I'd like to get our furniture.
Yeah, furniture's overrated. Come on. You sleep on the floor. You've done it before.
Yeah, but thankfully the furniture's coming in the next couple of days.
Nice.
So, Rick, I thank you for allowing me to join you on JandR.
You're welcome.
These flippin' politicians. Do I start with Maxine Waters, Pelosi? Which one do I... I'm just absolutely fuming.
I'm sorry, did you mention Maxine Waters?
Look, sister, is any of this filtering through that little blue bonnet of yours?
That's about how I feel anytime she starts talking.
Yeah. Although, it would have to be a pink cowboy hat, remember?
Yeah, there's something else Foggy usually has to say about her. Goes something like this.
Nice girl, but about as sharp as a sack of wet mice.
Yeah. I'm picking this one up. Can't say I disagree with you.
Yeah, she's
she's an interesting character in her own right.
In her own mind, you mean? Oh, sorry.
Now, this woman got in the middle and upset a Gold Star family member. Then, that's not all she did. She then called for Sarah Sanders to be harassed. And even after Sarah Sanders left the restaurant, her family was attacked. I'm sorry, that is horsehockey, to quote Colonel Potter, because I don't like to swear on air. And I'm sorry, there is whatever happened to the days of Reagan and Tip O'Neill, who would battle it out all day, get together, have a drink in the evening, and all was well.
Well, those days have been gone for a long time.
I know they have, but what about common decency and civility?
Well, I mean, the issue is what we have going on right now is polemics on both sides are actually the ones that are getting everybody's attention. So the idea of being civil with people that you view as the enemy doesn't make any sense, because you have to remember, when all of this started, when Trump first hit the scene, you have to remember, the running joke was, if you're a Nazi, we punch Nazis in the face, don't worry about it. So then all of a sudden, when Trump won the election, now everybody that even defends a single thing that he says, not even him, but he has a policy that works. Oh, that's a pretty good policy. I'm not a fan of some of the things that he says and does, but this is actually working. You're a Nazi. So why is there no civility? Because we've gotten to the point now where anybody that we disagree with is the enemy. They're painted as a monster, and we all know monsters have to be destroyed. This is the natural progression of how things are working right now. That's why she can sit there in front of the world and tell people, if you see a member of his administration out in public at a gas station, grocery store, I don't care where it is, you get people, you make noise, you push back. That's what she said on multiple occasions, because of the fact that she doesn't like the fact that her side is losing. Now, the delicious thing about all this, though, is she's now starting to turn against people in her own party. She's now blaming Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi for only being interested in shoring up their own power base instead of doing what's right for the country, which is funny coming from her, but it's still fun to watch them eat their own.
Oh, it's hilarious to watch them eat their own, Rick. I mean, it's just one of those things, though, that it's like, come on. These people don't know what the right hand does what the left hand's doing. And I've got an echo again, Rick.
Yeah, it's my fault. It's because I was trying to push out the links, and it's causing a backfeed in the system. It should be done in a second.
Okay. Anyway, but it's just one of these things of, come on, get over it, people. And start at least recognizing people on Twitter. You want to hear a good one?
Go ahead.
Somebody on Twitter tried to call me a Nazi and said I was a Jew-hating blah, 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 blah. And I just replied with LOL and this gif of someone just literally cracking up so hard they couldn't stand up, and they're like, what's so funny? You clearly don't know a thing about me. I'm Jewish. And then they came back with, well, Jews could be Nazis too.
Nice.
I'm not so sure about that, but I don't know any Jew, self-respecting Jew at least, that would defend anything the Nazis have done. I'm sorry. I just don't. And it's just absolutely getting to the point of these people have lost their bloody minds. They have lost their bloody minds. And I've got a quote clip lady here, because she and I talk pretty regularly. She always says that most of these politicians, both sides, but she has her particular favorites on the left. Pelosi always needs to take her meds because half the time Clip Lady thinks she's incoherent.
I can't disagree with that.
Oh, nor can I. Then she thinks the rest of them need their depends changed to snack and to be put down for a nap and a timeout, and maybe even a spanking on some days.
Careful, I think some of them might actually like the spanking. Just saying.
And she keeps wanting Nanny McPhee to come in and straighten all these kids out.
Yeah, that might work. Nanny McPhee's pretty good at cleaning up messes.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that she has a right to her opinion. I get it. I am totally understanding of all that. But I also think people have a right to have downtime with their family and privacy and have boundaries respected. And this is just getting to the point of absolutely nuts, beyond insanity. And I'm looking for the clip, and I can't find it real quick. And of course, but I've got this one. So we're going to run with this one.
Nancy Pelosi came out the other day. She wants everybody to pay much more taxes. She wants to end the tax cuts, and she wants people to pay much more taxes. You do that, you will totally kill this economy. You'll kill the country.
And I've heard people, comedians and the like, saying that we need to have a recession so that a Democrat can get elected. Wait a minute, folks. Have you lost your bloody minds? Do you know how many people will be hurt by a recession or raising taxes, and how many people these tax cuts have helped? You guys have lost your bloody minds!
But that's the point. They don't care. They don't want the American people to be helped. They don't want the American people to be prosperous, because a prosperous people don't need the government as much. These people are about control. And it's not just the left. There are people on the right that are the same way. That's why they've been screaming the entire time Trump's been in office. And there's people on both sides that are fighting against him tooth and nail for everything that he's trying to do, because he's actually trying to do things to make things better. I'm not going to lie about it. In between the money that I'm getting back in taxes and the fact that I just got a raise, I'm seeing about $2,500 to $300,000 a year more on my check than I was this same time last year. Now, is it going to stay that way? I don't know, because I know that right now everybody's up in arms and freaking out over these tariffs. But let me explain to you the difference. The Democrats have already told you they want to raise taxes if they get back in power, which is, pardon me, going to cost you more money and kill job creation anyway. So the difference is with Trump trying to use tariffs to bring people back to the table, to make them understand that the deals that we have are unfair. I mean, I don't know about you, but until Trump started talking about putting tariffs against Canada, I had no idea there was a 300% tariff in Canada on our milk, because it didn't affect my daily life. I didn't know anything about that. How many other crappy trade deals do we have going on around the world that he's trying to clean up, and everybody's like, but you can't put tariffs against those people because then they're just going to put tariffs against us. Well, that's great. They're already screwing us over anyway. What difference does it make? The question is, who's going to be able to stay at the table longest? I guarantee you it's probably going to be us.
Well, I hope it is, because this is getting beyond insanity. I mean, it's to the point now that it's all gone completely crazy. And I'm not just talking a little nuts. I'm talking, to the point where people are calling for nuclear war, calling for us to be bombed. And I'm like, you don't realize what that's going to do.
Oh no, that's the thing. They do. That's the problem. They understand what they're asking for. That's why they're calling for violence in the street. That's why they're calling for us to be bombed. That's why they're calling for a recession. These people do not want America to be able to stand on our own. As far as they are concerned, we are an abomination. We are a racist country founded by white people who came in and took the Indians' land, and as far as they're concerned, we need to give it back. Doesn't matter that everybody else that we're talking about has come in from one point or another, from another country or another, and has done things just as bad in their own past, because that doesn't matter. Because right now the only thing that matters is that America sucks, America is evil, America is the master slave race of the universe and must be destroyed. That's how these people view this country. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being told that I am a bad person because I was born white. I'm tired of being told that I have some sort of magical privilege card that I get to pull out all the time when I'm working 90 hours a week to make ends meet, trying to build a business and doing everything else that I'm doing. Don't tell me that I have a privilege card. It's that simple. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
No, they don't. And this one, this famous Pelosi one, I'm waiting for the election ads to start featuring this.
In terms of the bonus that corporate America received versus the crumbs that they are giving to workers to kind of put the schmooze on, is so pathetic. It's so pathetic.
And I'm sure in some places they already are.
Crumbs. Walmart and Target raised their minimum wage to anywhere from $12 to $15 an hour on their own because of these tax breaks, but it's crumbs. That's the main reason why I was able to get a job at the place that I work, because they realized that if you can go to work at Walmart and Target and make more money than we're making, why would you put up with the crap that we put up with? That's why we were finally able to start getting raises, because that's the thing. When the economy actually does what it's supposed to do, and we get to the point where we have more jobs than we have people that can fill them, jobs start becoming competitive because they need people to fill the slots. So what happens automatically is everybody starts trying to pay more. Wages get better, conditions get better because they need people to come in and fill the spots. The other thing, and this is the big hot button, and has been for the last several months, is the whole immigration thing. Well, Donald Trump is doing what the executive of the United States of America should be doing. He's enforcing the laws as written, because that's his job. That's what the executive branch does. They enforce the laws that Congress enacts and that they sign into law. Their job is to make sure they're enforced. The Congress passes them, the judicial branch interprets them when necessary, and the executive branch enacts them. So to scream at him for doing his job when he's putting this nice, bright, million-candle spotlight on exactly how screwed up our immigration system is, and keep saying over and over again, Congress is the one that needs to fix this, you guys need to work on this, this is why you need to fix it. And they're like, nah, bro, we're good, you just keep doing what you're doing. And everybody's screaming and yelling at him, and people are being confronted in restaurants because we're evil, because we don't want brown-skinned people here. It doesn't have anything to do with what color your skin is. It has to do with how you came into this country. If you came into this country legally, then I want you here. If you didn't, then I want you to go home, come back, and do it the right way. And if you don't like it, I don't give a damn.
I agree. And I'm sorry, other countries, you cross their borders illegally, you're immediately sent home. And this, I agree with this one.
We want a system where when people come in illegally, they have to go out.
And that should be enforced. I'm sorry. And we're the only country that gives away citizenship based on a lottery. Well, guess what? I think we're diverse enough. I think it's time to end the flippin' lottery. I agree with Trump's 4 pillars.
Yeah, I mean, so do I. I mean, for the most part, I mean, there are things here and there that I think need to be tweaked. But I agree with the idea that we need to drastically overhaul our immigration process, because it's a mess. The things that we've been going through for the last couple of months have proved exactly what a mess Congress has made of their part of the Constitution. This is part of their constitutionally outlined power, is to dictate how people can come into this country, set up the laws and the processes to make sure that they can do so in whatever way we see fit. And they have abdicated that responsibility to the executive branch. They did it under Barack Obama. They just did it. Schumer just did it under Trump. Trump said, look, you guys can fix this. If you don't like what's going on, then fix it. And Schumer goes on national TV. Donald Trump could fix this today with a pen, and refuses to do it. So Donald Trump waits another couple of days and says, look, you guys can fix this. Get everybody to the table, put together an immigration policy that works, and I will sign it. And Schumer goes back, Donald Trump could fix this today with a pen if he chose to do that. So what you're basically telling me, sir, is that you don't want to do your job. If you do not want to do your job, why are we sending you there? Why do your constituents keep sending you there if you keep blatantly telling the American people you're not up to do the job that we sent you there to do? This is part of the thing that drives me crazy when we start talking politics. If you look at Congress's approval rating, they are less approved of than a venereal disease in total. Herpes is more popular if you take a poll than Congress, and yet we keep sending the same group of people piecemeal back in to do the same things, even though their overall approval rating sucks, because everybody thinks their personal congressman is great. Everybody else's congressman is the problem, and everybody else's senator is the problem. It's time to kick them all out and start over. If they can't do their job, we need to kick them out.
I'm sorry, they were sent there to do a job, and it's clear they don't want to do it.
Well, here's the thing, though. I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot. I'll give you the mic back in a second. Here's the thing, though. This is an election year. Neither side wants this fixed. That's what Trump is running into. Trump is the guy that keeps trying to bring everybody back to the table and say, look, guys, you keep saying you want to fix this, so let's fix it. And both sides are like, man, no, we're good. we're good. It's all right. But he's like, but the American people are chewing us up and spitting us out over this, and I'm trying to show you guys exactly how messed up this is by enacting the laws that you guys have passed, and you're telling me that you don't want to fix it. So, because it's an election year. They need this. This is what galvanizes their base, because now you have the left all protesting ICE and wanting to disband ICE and crush ICE and get rid of borders and raise taxes, and the right sitting over here going, all we really want to do is make sure that our Constitution is followed, that our immigration policies are followed, and that we have fair and equitable tax codes. And you guys want to destroy everything just because you're mad. That's what we're dealing with right now. I don't...
It makes as much sense as rioting and looting in your home, turning everything down, going, this place sucks.
But that's basically what they're doing. I mean, they're tearing this country apart from the inside out, and they're doing it on purpose. One of the things that really got my attention, I actually finally got a chance to sit down and watch Dinesh D'Souza's Hillary's America, and he actually goes back through the history of the Democratic Party pretty thoroughly and points out that that it seems the recurring theme for that party from the moment it was conceived of was wresting control back from the American people in whatever way they could, whether it was back when it was the Democratic Republic Party, when it eventually became the Democratic Party, or even now the Democrat Party of today. It's always been the same thing. And there's actually a point when you can find this in some of Hillary's writings, where she had explained to Saul Alinsky, when they had started hanging out together, that because he was always the guy that wanted to impact things from the outside. He wanted to shake things up from the outside, take it to the people, let them do the work. And Hillary Clinton told him he was thinking too small. That the only way to make ideas like his Rules for Radicals book work is if they were actually on the inside of the government. The problem is there have been people that have espoused those ideologies in the government since at least the 90s. And we're dealing with a lot of that fallout now. That's why the FBI is doing everything they can to keep everybody from figuring out exactly what all fingers they've had in what pies. The IRS is doing the same thing. The DOJ as a whole is doing the same thing. Our agencies in this government have been weaponized against us, and we're just now starting to figure it out. It's absolutely terrifying, the world that we live in, when your eyes are open, because you realize that for the last several years, our government has not been our friend. This is the very government that Ronald Reagan warned us about when he said the scariest words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Because they're not trying to help us, they're trying to control us. And that's why the Dems are freaking out. Because they're losing their grip. There's a campaign now that's been started on Facebook and Twitter. #WalkAway. It's people telling their story about when, why, and how they left the Democratic Party and why it is they will never come back. White America is leaving the Democratic Party in droves. Black America is starting to leave the Democratic Party in trickles. The Democratic Party is about to be no more. The head of the DNC just said that this newly socialist elected person, well, I don't think they've been elected yet, but they won the primary. This newly socialist candidate in New York who won their primary is the future of the Democratic Party. So they're basically full-on espousing socialism at this point. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. They're like, socialism is the future for the party, socialism is the future for the country. Thank you for making Trump 2020 a reality. I appreciate it, I really do.
My thing is that why is it people don't learn from history? Come on, stupid. I mean, has socialism ever succeeded anywhere? Ever?
Well, the short answer, the reason nobody learns from history is because they don't teach it anymore. They don't. They teach history in piecemeal. They teach history usually in outdated textbooks. So, I mean, I know of people that I know of that are in school right now that are still learning history from textbooks pre-2001, which means there's not even anything in their history books that are talking about what's happened with the World Trade Center years ago. That's part of the problem. History is not taught anymore, and when it is taught, it's watered down to the point where it's basically told to fit an agenda. The only agenda that there really is in school right now, and it's one of the reasons why I worked my tail end off for years to get my son out of a city school, because even in Oklahoma, the city schools are nuts. there's this whole agenda with history. It's not a whitewashing of history. It's a white guilt of history. We're now supposed to be sorry and sad about everything that's ever happened in this country. And the worst part about it is they make it sound like it was all the Republicans' fault, when if you go back and look at history, pretty much everything that everybody's ever complained about, from the Indians being rounded up and nearly extinct to Japanese people being put in internment camps, that was done by either the forebears to the Democratic Party or the Democratic Party. And yet somehow they've managed to fool everybody into thinking, well, the party shifted in 1960 when LBJ passed civil rights. The hell they did! LBJ was a racist bastard who knew how to work a room. The only people that passed that were the Republicans. Democrats, 0 votes. And the consensus from the left is, well, that's the time when all the Republicans suddenly became the Democrats, and the Democrats suddenly became the Republicans, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So you're saying overnight, because of 1 vote, all of a sudden the parties flip-flopped. No, they have not. You guys have always been the party of the KKK. You espouse Margaret Sanger. You love Margaret Sanger. Hillary Clinton has said as much. Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist who actually helped Adolf Hitler with some of his ideas, unbeknownst to her. And one of the first speeches that she ever gave was at a Women of the KKK rally. So tell me again how the Democrats and the Republicans changed places.
And I thought I was the one with the rant tonight.
Yeah, I'm ranty.
I can tell. No, but I'm just getting sick of these idiots running around knowing that they need to do their bleeping jobs. And then they go, nah, we'd rather have the issue. It's an election year. No offense, you're always running for election. Get off your 6 o'clock and do your job, or you won't have one.
This is true, and we actually need to get that point across to them. All right, so we've hit the bottom of the hour. We're going to do things a little bit differently. This is normally when I take a commercial break, but instead for tonight, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm actually going to play a song that has been outlawed and banned from Facebook. Some of you have probably heard it here locally on KOKC. You may have also noticed it's been on Fox News. We're going to play it anyway. This is I Stand for the Flag. Seems like this would be one of the perfect times to play it since it is 4th of July. We're going to forego the commercials, play this instead. We'll be right back.
By the dawn's early light, a little tired, a little tore up, still hurting from the fight. And then it hit me. You ain't gotta pick a side. You can love your fellow man and still have pride. 'Cause we're all stitched together like the red, white, and blue. Might be a little bit different, but we're all the same too. 'Cause the stars and stripes are so much more than that old piece of cloth on your grandma's porch. It gave us that American dream to be anything that we want to be. It don't matter where you are, from a one-room church to an uptown bar. Don't care if you're black or white or who you love. I stand for the flag, and the flag stands for all of us. For the teachers of today, for the leaders of tomorrow, for long-haul driving truckers, rolling all night hauling cargo. The banker pays the farmer who feeds the factory working man, while a preacher talks to Jesus about his son in Afghanistan. We all need each other like an apple needs a pie, and that's just another day in this American life. 'Cause the stars and stripes are so much more than that old piece of cloth on your grandma's porch. It gave us that American dream to be anything that we want to be. 'Cause it don't matter where you are, from a one-room church to an uptown bar. Don't care if you're black or white or who you love. I stand for the flag, and the flag stands for all of us. I stand for showing kindness stars and stripes mean so much more than that old piece of cloth on your grandma's porch. You gave us that American dream to be anything that we want to be. And it don't matter where you are, from a one-room church to an uptown bar. Don't care if you're black or white or who you love. I stand for the flag, and the flag damn sure stands for all of us.
So you're gonna tell me that you don't have no black cats, no Roman candles, or screaming mimes?
No.
Oh, come on, man. You don't got no lady fingers, buzz buttles, snicker bombs, church burners, finger blasters, gut busters, zippity doodads, or crap flappers?
No, I don't.
You're gonna stand there, owning a fireworks stand, and tell me you don't have no whistling bungholes, no spleen splitters, whisker biscuits, honky lighters, hoosker do's, hoosker don'ts, cherry bombs, nips and dazers, with or without the scooter stick, or one single whistling kitty chaser?
Welcome back, folks. This is Jen and Rick. I am Rick Robinson. The other half of the crew with me tonight is actually Jessica Sanders from both Jesse's POV and Jesse's Coffee Shop. Jen has the night off. She's blowing stuff up. My neighbors have started early, which is why I usually save that for when I do like the daytime 4th of July show, which I'm going to be doing tomorrow. But since my neighbors were blowing things up, we dusted off the 4th of July bumper a few hours early. All right, so you heard...
Here's my comment on that song, Rick, because that was the first time I'd heard it.
Yep.
Here's my complete comment.
Yeah, what I hope is enough grassroots radio folks and everybody else have helped push it enough that those guys sell millions and millions of albums and can tell Facebook to go fly a kite. Because that song has actually been pulled from Facebook for being too political. It is a song about our flag that was trying to go viral on the day before the 4th of July, and Facebook pulls it because it's too political. This is the stupidity that is going on in our country right now, because Facebook got in all kinds of trouble for all of this fake account crap that they got mixed up.
Oh, well, you know that during the Facebook hearings, yes, what is it? Oh, I'm trying to remember their names. The two conservative African American women.
Yeah, Diamond and Silk, I think.
Yes, actually made the hearings. That was actually brought up in the Facebook hearing.
Yeah, I know. I actually heard a little bit about it, but notice that nothing's really changed. Yeah, insane. Because it's not about free speech. I mean, the left actually abhors free speech. The only free speech they like is free speech they agree with. Sadly, a lot of people on the right are the same way. It's only free speech if you like it. One of the things that I like that the Supreme Court actually did this most recent session was I think it was this session. They actually said that your right to free speech does not give you a right to not be offended. I thought that was one of the most profound and best rulings I've heard a Supreme Court ever make, because that's the truth. You have the ability to turn around and walk away, to not have to hear anything that anybody else is saying, but
turn it off, change the channel, walk away.
And that's the thing, is up until now, that's pretty much how conservatives have done things. Now, in some ways, we've actually adopted some of the stuff from the left, and I think that's one of the reasons why Donald Trump has done such a good job of fighting everything off, because he's the first guy in a while that's beating the left at their own game. But at the same time, like today, I saw all this stuff where Walmart was getting yelled at because I guess through some third-party provider that they allow access to their website was selling Impeach 45 stuff. Why should I give a damn what Walmart is or isn't selling?
Oh. Hang on, Rick. I got to play this clip.
Sure.
Zuckerberg, I will say there are a great many Americans who I think are deeply concerned that Facebook and other tech companies are engaged in a pervasive pattern of bias and political censorship.
And Zuckerberg said that they're not.
Facebook is an idealistic and optimistic company. For most of our existence, we focused on all of the good that connecting people can do. And as Facebook has grown, people everywhere have gotten a powerful new tool for staying connected to the people they love, for making their voices heard, and for building communities and businesses. Just recently, we've seen the Me Too movement and the March for Our Lives organized, at least in part, on Facebook. After Hurricane Harvey, people came together to raise more than $20 million for relief. And more than 70 million small businesses use Facebook to create jobs and grow. But it's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well. And that goes for fake news, for foreign interference in elections, and hate speech, as well as developers and data privacy. We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
And so now they're calling everything hate speech, of course. I had a friend whose kitty pic of a cat with an American flag on its tail was banned as hate speech. Rick, did I lose you? Or are you just stunned?
No, I'm still here, sorry.
No, but a friend's kitty pic was actually taken off the off Facebook because the cat had an American flag on its tail. And it was banned as hate speech.
So, according to Facebook, the American flag is hate speech. This would explain why that song was banned then. Because I was trying to figure that out, but if they view the American flag as hate speech now, that would explain it.
Yet they claim that they're not involved in political censorship.
Well, Mark Zuckerberg's a liar.
Well, that's not news.
Well, at least we know it's not fake news. It's also not news because everybody already knows.
Here's one more clip from the Facebook hearings. I've got to play it.
Mr. Zuckerberg, does Facebook consider itself a neutral public forum?
Senator, we consider ourselves to be a platform for all ideas.
Let me ask the question again. Does Facebook consider itself to be a neutral public forum? And representatives of your company have given conflicting answers on this. Are you a First Amendment speaker expressing your views, or are you a neutral public forum allowing everyone to speak?
Senator, here's how we think about this. I don't believe that there is certain content that clearly we do not allow, right? Hate speech, terrorist content, nudity, anything that makes people feel unsafe in the community. From that perspective, that's why we generally try to refer to what we do as a platform for all ideas.
Yes, Senator Cruz was trying to get a straight answer. Zuckerberg wasn't giving one.
Yeah, he's not real good at straight answers anyway.
Now, I will say that a lot of people screamed at Facebook for sharing stuff, but some of the same idiots, and I'm going to use the term idiots, had their profiles set to public anyway. And if Facebook shared something you had set to public, and you complain...
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Actually, there's a follow-up to that story, and I'm not sure if you're aware. There was actually a glitch on Facebook that actually made a lot of people's pages public, even though they were trying to keep it friends only.
Right. Now, those that were affected by the glitch, I got you. You have the right to scream. But there were people who have public pages that were complaining because their stuff off their public page was shared. I'm not talking the regular Facebook profile. I'm talking things like the KLRN radio station page. And they were screaming because that public page was shared. and things on it were shared.
Well, yeah, that's your own fault for making things public then. I mean, just womp womp, just saying.
I mean, I don't agree with Facebook banning that I Stand for the Flag song. And that song is probably going to go viral now. And they're probably going to sell way more than they ever would. And they need to. Because, I'm sorry, there's calls to abolish ICE. They do a lot more than just monitor the borders. And I love Mitch McConnell going, not much can be done in Congress. Oh, get off your six. I mean, you can't legislate certain things away. Murder's already illegal, but yet they happen. But you can legislate how people come into this country. You can legislate other things. But you can't ever legislate away bad behavior. And that's just the fact.
Yeah, I mean, it really is when you stop and think about it. I mean, the issue for the moment really is you can't legislate behavior. That's one of the things, that's one of my arguments that I've had with the right now for years, because the right is really bad about trying to legislate behavior. Whether it's what people are putting in their bodies, what they put on their bodies, what they do with each other with their bodies, and who they're doing it with. You can't legislate behavior, and we shouldn't be in the business of trying to legislate morality to the point where as long as it's happening between two consenting adults, I really don't care what happens, as long as I don't have to see it on every freaking TV show. That's another thing that's honestly driving me crazy. We know for a fact that the LGBTQ LMNOPs represent about 3% of the population in this country, but you can't turn on a TV show without seeing gay people everywhere. If it's only 3% of the population, why do they have to be everywhere? All over.
My thing is no PDA. I don't care if you're straight, bi, hetero, or homosexual. I don't care. No public I limit public. I don't want to see public displays of affection. I don't care who you are. How's that for an answer?
I mean, at this point, I could kind of deal with that, just so it would all stop. But here's, and I told people this was coming, and everybody told me that I was crazy. There is now a movement to normalize pedophilia as just another sexual orientation. It started as a thing that I saw maybe 1 or 2 articles about a month. Now it's getting to the point where I see 1 to 2 articles a week. Soon it'll be an article a day about how this isn't their fault because they were born that way. I've gotten into arguments with people that tell me that they are attracted to children, but they're not pedophiles because they haven't acted on those things, and they can't help it because they were born that way. That is crap. We have gotten to the point where we normalize and rationalize every sort of bad behavior possible, and that is what's going to wind up causing this country to be destroyed from the inside out, because we have gotten to the point where we now have this entire group of people that think we should have no laws, no borders, no money, no nothing. They just, but I guess they want to go back to feudalism and just everybody for themselves. I live in the middle of nowhere and have plenty of guns. If that's the way you guys want to play it, I'm down. But some of y'all gonna die.
Yes, some people are going to die. And while I don't live in the middle of nowhere, I got plenty of guns and ammo. And I live amongst a bunch of people that wouldn't stand for it. So, and I live amongst people who stand for the flag. Traffic stops for this flag on a military base. You can go to a military base when they are playing the colors, the national anthem in the morning. And every person standing outside has stopped what they are doing. And they are facing either the flag, or if they are not near a flag, they are facing the speakers that they are closest to. And so I live amongst a bunch of people who are willing to put their life on the line for this country and that flag they wear on their uniform. And I'm proud to live here. I know I live in a very unique community, because guess what, Rick? I swear I live in Mayberry. I still see kids playing outside. the other day, when I was leaving one military base, getting ready to go to another, I saw approximately an 11-year-old boy riding his bike to a friend's house. Unsupervised, no parent around, just on his bike, out for a ride, going to a friend's house. And the reason I know his destination is he turned down my street. And I know he didn't live there. So I swear some days I live in Mayberry. Why can't the rest of the country understand that there are things that just need to cope?
I legitimately live in Mayberry, so I understand. We're not named Mayberry, but the town my son goes to school in has a population of 600. The other day we were driving in for the 4th of July celebration that they actually do 2 weeks early because they know they're not going to be able to compete with the bigger towns, which is one reason why we manage to usually celebrate 4th of July for about 3 weeks, because we go to the Washington event first, we go to the Purcell event next, and then usually we wind up doing a family event the weekend after the 4th, if the 4th falls on a weekday like it is right now. So we usually manage to stretch the 4th of July into about a 3-week event, with different things spaced out throughout that 3-week period. So, but as we were driving into town, I was struck by the fact of all the people that they had flags lined in the streets. There were flags pretty much in every home. People would wave as you were driving by. It's just, there's such a big difference between how most of the things in today's world work versus how they work where I live now. And I think that's one of the things that has honestly caused my son to have about a 180 since we left the city. My son was your typical teenager in the city. Didn't want to get up to go to school, bucked authority, fought with me and his mom all the time. That stopped almost instantly when we got out here. And the only thing that I can attribute it to is it's a smaller school. The teachers are mixed more male and female instead of predominantly female, which I think is good for boys to have male teachers present because, you know, as his father, I can't be there 24 hours a day. He needs males that understand how boys think and what they do to be present during those times of the day to make sure that he does the things that he's supposed to do. And I think that's one of the things that has honestly helped him completely turn his life around to the point where now he went from a C student to a straight A student. He's in VOTEC right now. He's running track for high school. He's playing football in high school, has a chance to get a scholarship. But even though he has a good chance to get a scholarship, he's listened to me and his mom about Plan B. So if he doesn't get a scholarship, he's taking a year off before he goes to college to get the third year of the VOTEC out of the way so that he can get a job making anywhere from $19 to $27 an hour and put himself through college if he needs to. Instead of having to wait for the government to say, well, your parents make a little bit too much money and you're not able to get it on your own, so you're on your own. Because, it's just one of those things where, and a good portion of that's actually his mom. His mom has been talking to him for the last couple of years about, look, you don't need to make the same mistakes that I made. This is what you need to do. Even if you get a scholarship, you need something to fall back on, because if you hurt yourself in football, you're going to need to be able to finish college. Or if you don't manage to get your track scholarship, you're going to need to be able to finish college so that because you already know what it is that you want to do with your life, and it's going to take college. So the fact of the matter is, I don't think my son would be where he is right now if we hadn't moved here. But that's part of what I'm trying to make people understand. The country is different everywhere. Things are different from one town to the next. But there are things that are still the same. There are people that love this country. There are people that stand up every time the national anthem plays. They put their hand over their heart. They take their hat off, or if they're in uniform, they salute the flag. They do those things not because they feel like they have to, but because they love this country. We are now seeing it's not Republican and Democrat anymore. It's now becoming who loves America and who wants to see America fall on its face. Because the majority of the people that I see that are leaving the Democratic Party right now are leaving it because it's become an un-American thing. They're not about American exceptionalism anymore. They're about America being the cesspool that is nothing but a bunch of racist, white, privileged white people that doesn't deserve to even be around. And that's why there's so many people that are leaving right now. even if it doesn't make sense to them as to the reason, because I've talked to some people that they can't really articulate it. They've been like, Hillary Clinton really turned me off, so I don't want to have anything to do with the Democratic Party anymore. Lots of things that Trump has said and done have made me mad, and I don't like all of it, but I really don't like some of the things that she's done. And then I start trying to ask them, well, what is it that you haven't liked? Because, remember, guys, she didn't win. So I know she made you mad, but why are you now willing to leave the Democratic Party? And I finally make them sit down and start talking to me about it. And they're like, well, I don't understand it because they're complaining about these tax cuts, but they want to take them away because they're terrible. But I got more money on my check, so they're telling me they want to take the money back that I got. And they want open borders. I don't want open borders. They don't want immigration policies. I want immigration policies. And a lot of them, after we've had these conversations, and it's only happened with 4 or 5 people. I mean, it's not like I've been talking to a lot of people about this, but the ones that I have been talking about it, they're finally, by the end of the conversation, they're like, you know what? I finally understand it. I'm still for America being exceptional. America is still the greatest country on the planet as far as I'm concerned, even though we have problems, and the Democratic Party no longer feels that way about America, and that's why I'm leaving. And that's what I've heard now time and time again when I get people to actually stop and think about what it is that's bothering them. And I've heard that from other people that are Trump supporters, because, they feel like the resist and the never Trumpers, they don't really care that much about what's going on with America anymore, what's happening with them. They only care that they feel like the Republican Party has left behind some grand ideal when it embraced Trump. And, not to go back to Evan Sayet, who you may remember, we met him in 2017 when we were at CPAC. He put out an article the other day explaining why he's been in Trump camp since day one. And he said it's because we are in a war that no one's talked about. It's not a war of weapons. It's not a war of bullets and ammunition. It is a war of culture. We have been in a culture war with the Democratic Party now for decades, and nobody told us. And while I may not like some of the things that Trump says or does, and he may not always come off as a polished person, I can't get rid of him right now because he fights. And he's taking the war of culture back to the Democrats. And that's why they're having a fit. That's why they're falling apart. Because they've not had anybody take the fight to them in the way that he's doing it, and they can't counter it. Because all he's doing is showing everybody exactly how messed up everything is, and then pointing it right back to the people that messed it up and saying, now get them to fix it, because I'm trying and they won't listen to me.
And I'm sorry, he's not willing to govern with a pen and a phone. He wants the things that get passed in this country to be law, not fiat. Not executive order. I mean, there's some things executive orders are good for. And he's used some. But you know what? His biggest one, the border, it was upheld. Now, the Supreme Court is this whole other debacle. Everyone's going, women are going to lose their right to choose. We're going to die if Trump gets to appoint another nominee. And it's like, and then they're saying, oh, well, you withheld the last nominee that Obama had because of the presidential election, so you need to hold back on this nominee because of the election. Womp womp, different. That was a presidential election. This isn't.
Yes. Second point on there, though. Let's not forget the rule that they were talking about. That actually is. It was more of like a common, just an understanding, and had been for quite some time. That in the last year of a lame duck presidency, there wouldn't be a Supreme Court appointment because the standing kind of understanding was that they wanted to make sure the American people were able to select that pick with whoever they decided to put in office the next year. But the thing the left completely leaves out anytime we start having this discussion is...
They started it.
But yeah, the last person that actually used this particular rule before then was Joe Biden when he was still in the Senate. It's called the Biden rule. So tell me again who started it.
Oh, well, if you ask them, the Republicans started it because the Republicans started everything bad.
So I guess Joe Biden was a Republican back then? That's why it's called the Biden rule?
No clue, but the Democrats just don't make sense, and I agree with Clip Lady some days. Pelosi needs some kind of meds so she's at least coherent.
Pelosi needs to retire. She's been around since the Jurassic era.
Yes, she is getting up there in years, and I don't see how she keeps up. Thinks she can inspire younger voters, except through stupidity. I'm sorry. I disagree with almost everything that woman says. Now, I want to talk I know we're actually over time.
That's all right.
Do you mind if we cut into your time a bit?
No, it's all right. Actually, my neighbors are starting to blow things up, so I figured we'd run a few minutes long on this one and just call it so nobody has to hear a bunch of fireworks in the background.
I'm not hearing the fireworks, but that's okay.
That's because I'm muting myself when they blow things up, which I won't be able to do if I'm talking about myself.
Well, all right. Women's rights. Huge issue, right?
Yeah.
The women in Saudi Arabia just got the right to drive. Like within the last 2 weeks. Just. Yet women in other countries are so put down. I never hear one of these women, I'm for all women having rights, blah, 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 blah. And they say that women's rights in this country are bad? Excuse me. Excuse me. They're not. Women in this country sometimes choose to make less than men. And yes, it is a choice. And yes, I'm going to get hate mail. So Jessie's POV at KLRNradio.com for your hate mail. Women often choose to stay home with their kids. That is a choice that will have them making less money than their male counterparts who didn't take time off to raise their children. Because guess what? You don't have the same amount of work experience. No, you should not get work experience credit for staying home and raising your children. Because you weren't in the workforce, you don't know what the latest is in your industry. I'm sorry, it's impossible to keep up if you're not working actively in pick an industry, any industry, most of them, it's impossible. There are certain jobs you can come back and be up to speed in 10 minutes. But there are other jobs it takes weeks and months and years. And I'm sorry, that's why women in this country sometimes make less than men. They made a choice. And it is a choice to stay home and raise children. No one is forcing you to. Now, I also know that because of that, there's a lot of fewer people that are deciding we don't want to have to face that choice. They're just not having kids. And that's why there's a population decline going on in this country. You know what? If you're so up about women's rights, start focusing on some other countries where women not only can't drive, can't vote, they need 4 male witnesses that they were raped. Get over yourselves and start focusing on other things that actually matter. You're so up in arms about LGBT rights. What about the countries where they throw gays off rooftops to their deaths?
Now, bear in mind, these are the same countries that they want people to be able to freely immigrate from. Speaking of which, backtracking to women's rights, something that I saw the other day that I thought was absolutely amazing were videos of women dancing in public without their burqas in Iran. These women were literally risking death to dance in public. And then
they're risking a place called Evin Prison and potentially being tortured to death. And women there are sexually assaulted before they're executed if they suspect that they're virgins so that they can't go to paradise. And they do that with teenage girls. They execute children in Iran. As long as you consider a child 12 or 13. They'll execute them for whatever trumped up charge, and it is kangaroo court over there. And they want more people to come here? I'm sorry. Yeah, if you agree with America and you're going to stand up for our beliefs and our values and you're going to assimilate and not bring some of your cultural norms and values are great. Bring your holidays. Teach me about your holidays. I'd love to know more about them. Don't try and bring your rule of law. If you're coming here, you obviously have a reason you want to be here.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Most of the people that are coming over from those countries will point blank tell you they're not here to assimilate. They're here to migrate. And that's part of the problem. That's one of the things that this administration has been trying to stop. You hear people like Linda Sarsour all the time talking about we don't need to come here to immigrate and assimilate. We need to just come here. which basically means they're coming here to try to colonize because they're not trying to become part of the country. When you have a group of people that are here not to become part of what's already here, that means they're starting to try to overwrite what's here. You don't believe me? Look at some of the things that are going on in places like Dearborn, Michigan, where they now have...
Stabbings are up in London, so the mayor of London wants to ban sharp kitchen knives from being sold. Because, of course, they don't have guns in London. So, of course, the weapon is the problem.
Yeah, the weapon's always the problem. It's never a hard issue. It's always the weapon. Now, I do want to go back to one thing about the whole Supreme Court appointment thing, because, everybody's going up and like having all kinds of fits about that. First of all, if you guys want to be mad at anybody, you guys should be mad at Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Because she could have retired when Obama was in office, and you guys would have gotten to have another appointment. But instead, the left is carrying her around Weekend at Bernie style just to try to prove to everybody she's still alive when we all know better. Second of all, I don't think Roe v. Wade is going to go anywhere. Worst case scenario.
Roe v. Wade is settled law. Even Gorsuch agreed to that. Well, and he is as conservative as any justice on the Supreme Court.
Worst comes to worst, the only thing that I see that might happen, that's a huge might, is it might get kicked back down to the state level because they might feel that Roe v. Wade was a bit of a federal overreach and that states should be the ones ultimately deciding whether or not they feel that the people that live within their borders should be having the right to be able to do that. That is probably the worst case scenario. I don't see Roe v. Wade going anywhere. I don't see the genie getting put back in the bottle. Do I personally think the genie needs to be put back in the bottle? Hell yes, but I've also changed my stance on the death penalty after interviewing a anti-death penalty group here at CPAC for the last couple of times that I was there. They've managed to change my mind. So at least now I feel like my views are a lot more consistent. I think the death penalty should be outlawed. I also think abortion should be outlawed. Is it ever going to happen in either case? Probably not. But that's all right, because I'm not saying everybody has to agree with me. That's where we've lost focus in this country. It's now my way or the highway. That's fine. I don't care. It's not about agreeing with me. It's about me having the right to express my opinion, but that's fine. I'm not asking anybody to agree with me. What I am saying is that's part of the problem. We've lost the ability in this country to actually have a conversation with people that we disagree with on ideals and still come together at the end of the day and find the things that we do agree on. Because that's the thing. If we and I've said this since the day I started doing this, if we set aside those 7 or 8 hot button issues that everybody's always screaming about, we would find that we agree on 93% of things that are going on in this country, for the most part, if you are in more towards the center. If you're not the far left and the far right, you're going to find that if we take all of the crazy things off the table that nobody's ever going to agree on, then if we look at what's left, you will find that we probably agree 85 to 90% of the time. Now, if you're on the fringes, there's not really much I can do to help you, because if you're on the fringes, you've already gone too far to one side or the other, in my opinion, anyway. And I know a lot of people think of me as a far right-leaning ideologue. I'm sorry if I've ever made you feel that way, because that's not who I try to be. But there are certain things that I take hardline stances on. Abortion happens to be one of them, but I'm not going to foist that view on anybody else, because that's a decision that my wife and I made together. We decided long ago that no matter what happened, we weren't going to murder our children. And to me, that's what that is.
Well, Rick, I have to say that I don't agree that all abortion should be outlawed, but I do think there should be more limits. It needs to be rarer than what it is. It should not be used as a form of birth control, but I still believe that a woman should have a right to choose for specific reasons. It shouldn't be this, reason 98% of the time. Now, do I want all abortion outlawed? Absolutely not. There are times that, I'm sorry, it needs to happen. And yes, sometimes it is a mental thing. Look at rape. Look at incest. And don't tell me in the case of life of the mother, where it's the child or the mother, you're going to say, so what, let them both die? Because if that mother dies, then that baby's not going to be born anyway. And in those situations, I'm sorry, it needs to happen. And yes, by the way, Rick, a tubal pregnancy, the surgery to save the woman after a tubal pregnancy bursts, is medically an abortion. So no, I don't want all of them outlawed. But I also don't want to see, abortions happening for, I don't like the fact I'm having a girl. I wanted a boy. I don't want to see abortions for the reason of, oh, oops, the condom broke, and I don't believe in other forms of birth control. No, I'm sorry. That's called suck it up. That's what adoption's for. I don't want to see, I want it to be more rare, but I still want it to be available. And I am for the death penalty. I'm sorry, you take a life, the state has the right to take yours. And I don't feel that's a conflicting view because I'm also pro-abortion, at least in certain circumstances. Just like I'm not for the state being able to take just anybody's life, you have to be tried and convicted and sentenced to die by a jury of your peers.
Yeah, what changed my mind on that is I started looking at the research and the number of people that we found out after the fact were actually innocent due to changes with different technologies and stuff. So that's actually what changed my mind there. All right, so any last points you want to make?
With the death penalty, I think it should be anybody convicted after a certain year to eliminate that possibility with the advances in technology. After, like, DNA, or the ones that were convicted pre-DNA, they get to have, the DNA tests that would have been done had they been caught in the modern age. And then if they are still guilty, the sentence is upheld.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just to me, I've kind of changed my mind on it a bit, but who knows? Things may change, and I may change it again at some point.
You don't think Timothy McVeigh's life should have been spared?
Meh. I don't know. To me, I think he got off a little easy. Having tasted prison food, I think he should have had to have eaten it for the rest of his life.
But it would have cost us a lot more in the long run.
Not really. We spend a lot more on death penalty cases than we do to actually house people for life in prison. That's part of the problem. It's not a cost-saving measure anymore. It hasn't been for a long time.
I'm just glad he's gone.
All right, so any other last points on the way out?
No, I think that about covers it, except just remember, the flag doesn't stand for any one political party. It stands for this entire nation. And if you see someone trashing our flag, I'd like to ask you to all stand up to them. Because I'm...
Sorry, that was louder than I meant it to be. Keep going.
It's just wrong. And I stand for the flag every day.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this special episode of Jen and Rick Sans Jen. You've had Jessica Sanders with me for the evening. You guys will get a double shot probably tomorrow morning. Finding Common Ground will be on as a 4th of July special. Tomorrow it's starting at 9 Eastern, and then after that I'll probably do an episode of America Off the Rails to make up for the fact that my neighbors are blowing stuff up right now. We will see you guys tomorrow morning. Enjoy the 4th of July. In case I don't get to see you, because I know you guys are going to be busy, we're going to go out the same way we went to break. So let's listen to it one more time.
Stripes are so much more than that old piece of cloth on your grandma's porch. It gave us that American dream to be anything that we want to be. It don't matter where you are, from a one-room church to an uptown bar. Don't care if you're black or white or who you love. I stand for the flag, and the flag stands for all of us. For the teachers of today, for the leaders of tomorrow, for long-haul driving truckers, rolling all night hauling cargo. The banker pays the farmer who feeds the factory working man, while a preacher talks to Jesus about his son in Afghanistan. We all need each other like an apple needs a pie, and that's just another day in this American life. 'Cause the stars and stripes are so much more than that old piece of cloth on your grandma's porch. It gave us that American dream to be anything that we want to be. 'Cause it don't matter where you are, from a one-room church to an uptown bar. Don't care if you're black or white or who you love. I stand for the flag, and the flag stands for all of us. treating everyone with love. Be proud of who you are. Don't forget where you came from. 'Cause the stars and stripes mean so much more than that old piece of cloth on your grandma's porch. You gave us that American dream to be anything that we want to be. And it don't matter where you are, from a one-room church to an uptown bar. Don't care if you're black or white or who you love.